weekly update on my thoughts as I read Heroes of Olympus, the Son of Neptune. So first off, if you're watching this video like after the fact, after it goes live, and you have a bit of a soft spot for Frank Zhang, you might want to go ahead and skip ahead about 5 minutes because I'm not a huge fan of Frank, so I'm gonna talk about him for a second. But hold on. So first off, Frank. My main issue with Frank Zhang is he likes Hazel. Now, my issue with him liking Hazel is he is 16 and she is 13. That's quite an age gap, and a large enough of an age gap to be what I would consider to be uncomfortable. Okay? But it's not just that. Okay? There's as I was reading today, another Frank Zhang moment came up that made me look at this guy and go, something's not right with this guy. So, um, Percy and Hazel had to do an iris message to Reyna back at Camp Jupiter, and when Hazel was telling Frank about it later, she said, "Oh, Reyna was in the bath, the Roman baths." And she said, "You should have seen the look on her face." Okay, when I guess the iris message popped up, and Frank said, "Oh, I would have paid money to see that." He then backtracked and tried to say like, "Oh, I would have paid money to see uh Reyna's the look on Reyna's face, not her in the bath." He tried to backtrack, but we all knew what he meant. So it's kind of like he wanted to see Reyna in the bath. He said he would want to pay money to see Reyna in the bathhouse, and that's yeah, dude's got some issues. Okay. I will say this though. I'm just checking my notes. Not everything about Frank is that bad. Well, I like his weapon. So Frank Zhang, he's got this little spear thingy. I'm just checking. Really, I just got some comments. I don't know. What was I saying? Let me bring up my notes because I lost my train of thought. That's why I got my. So Frank, he has this spear thingy that has a dragon's tooth on it, and it's got like 3 charges on it. And when he like stabs this thing into the ground, it raises a skeletal warrior, which I think is kind of cool in the skeletal warrior as far as we understand fights and fights to defend Frank, as far as I understand. Here, totally my type. Oh my god, these are bots. I'm sure of it. Hey, at least I'm getting traction in comments. But yeah, you're totally my type. Anyway, what was I saying? Distracting comments. So, here's the thing. So Frank is able to raise this skeletal warrior 3 times. The spear's got 3 charges on it. But my thing is, so he got this from his dad. Spoilers. Frank is a son of Mars, the god of war. Now, if Frank was the son of Pluto, or he got it as a gift from Pluto, I feel like that would make more sense. That a undead creature, monster, whatever. Man, these comments. That an undead creature, whatever, being from the god of the underworld would make a heck of a lot more sense. Now I know it's a skeletal warrior, so yeah, that does have a link to his dad being Mars, the god of war. I think it would make more sense to me if if this warrior, the skeletal warrior that Frank was able to summon, was wearing like period specific like clothing. Because if I remember correctly, the way this skeleton's dress. He's wearing like camo pants and I think he's like a muscle shirt or something like that. And I'm kind of like, if he was wearing a uniform from like World War II or the Civil War, or even he was dressed like a Roman, warrior or something like that. He was dressed like a warrior from a specific war. I feel like that would make more sense, But anyway, so that's the one that's the one saving grace, or the only thing I like about Frank right now is his weapon's kind of cool. But anyway. Am I not even a bit bi-curious? Well, we're not going to get into that. Anyway, so slightly ill-prepared here because I had some notes. I had them in my Google Drive, and I forgot to bring them up beforehand, so I'm going somewhat off of memory here. Give me 1 second, and I will be up to speed. I do apologize. This is my second stream ever. So, all right. So I mentioned, okay, Frank likes Hazel. She's 13. He's 16. That's weird. Raina and the Bass, also weird. His weapon's kind of cool, though. Okay. And all right. So moving away from my uneasiness towards Frank, I got to talk about Hazel now. Okay. So one thing I really like about Hazel is her flashbacks. Okay. Because she's from like the 1940s. I like that that Rick Riordan was able to implement exposition for this character without having to do a dream sequence like he does with most of the demigods. I have no issues with that, but I feel like her flashbacks is a nice change of pace for her for getting exposition on that particular character. Dale, what's your crap? Oh my god. These commenters, man. Again, this is my second stream like ever. I'm just like reading these comments. I'm kind of like, oh, these are I'll buy you a gift. Oh my god, so many bots or something. I don't freaking know. Anyway, you're distracting me. What was I saying? So, her blackouts. Yeah, she has these flashbacks to now. Actually, I don't know if I want to get into that yet because predictions. Damn, I'm going through these kind of. Oh, I'm actually going to backtrack for a minute. So back to Frank. Yeah, I know I said I was done with Frank. I lied. Most of these notes are about him. So back to Frank Zhang. I apologize. I'm ill prepared today. My second stream ever. So Frank likes Hazel. Frank's 16, she's 13, age gap, creepy, weird, whatever. Now, you might say, oh, well, he loves Hazel like a sister or something like that, and I could get behind that, and, that would be fine, except at one point during the War Games, when they're still at Camp Jupiter, Hazel, I'm sorry, these comments are distracting. At one point, Hazel is riding on top of this elephant, Hannibal, this war elephant. Frank is on the ground, and Frank looks up at Hazel on this elephant, and he says, or he thinks to himself, and I quote, "Gods, she's beautiful." If he saw Hazel as like his sister or something like that, that's not something you say to your sister. You don't say oh my God, my sister's so beautiful. No, you don't say that. So he sees Hazel in a romantic sense. And with that age gap, that's just weird. And anyway, so, oh yeah. So, I do have, 2 predictions for this book, or from where I'm at. Cause I'm, here, let me pull out my little bookmark. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm about halfway through it. So from where I'm at right now, I have 2 predictions on what I think is going to happen. Both of them actually concerning Hazel. So, one, they're always talking about, that Hazel needs to be wary with her flashbacks or blackouts, because what if she has a blackout when she's like in combat or something like that? and it's like, what's going to happen? We don't know what's going to happen. This is going to be terrible and whatnot. I have a feeling that, that's basically foreshadowing that there's going to be a combat situation that comes up, and Hazel's going to have one of her blackouts, and we're going to just see what happens. Okay, why would they say that so many times? Why would they, warn Hazel so many times if, they're not even going to put it in the book? So I have a feeling she's going to have a blackout, flashback moment, or whatever during combat, and we're, going to see what happens. Now, another thing concerning Hazel that they're always talking about is what's going to happen, because like Hazel's from like the 1940s and she died and then she got like brought back and I don't know. So they're always talking, okay, what's going to happen with so they're always talking with, what's going to happen, like once Percy and them complete this mission. Is he going to be sent back to the underworld, or is he going to get to live on? We don't know. I am making a prediction on what I think is going to happen to Hazel. I think she's going to get sent back to the underworld. However, I think she's going to not be completely gone as a character. I think she's going to have some kind of a role to play. I don't know what role, because, but like her brother, Nico, is, I think she's going to be like his assistant. I don't know. She's going to have some kind of a role to play in the underworld, but she will ultimately go back to the underworld. That's my prediction. I don't know. I'm about halfway through the book. But yeah, so that's it. Now, so those are all my thoughts. I knew this was going to be a relatively short video talking about where I'm at right now with Son of Neptune. I'm getting comments out the ass, which this stream, being my second stream, is already like way more successful than my first one because I'm actually getting comments and whatnot. My first stream, y'all should have seen it. Actually, I got the video still on my channel if you want to see it. But I got like no attention. Like someone would like I'd get like one person and then they'd go away like a second later. So this stream, I'm getting likes, I'm getting comments. So most successful stream yet, as sad as that is. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure. Hold on. How can I write a book? I have so many ideas and no idea how to start. As much as I think this is probably, well, Dale, I do apologize. Just with some of the, what I'm trying to say. So this is, like I keep saying, my second stream. I'm kind of new to things, still trying to figure things out. So when I see comments, I'm like, I don't know who to believe. I don't know like what's going on. So I do apologize for that. I really do. But if you want to know how to write a book, like I could be here for hours talking, about how to write a book. Where do I even start? So, all right, I guess this is gonna be a long stream. Also, you said Frankie has ADHD. Probably. I know, most demigods have, ADHD or dyslexia or this, that, whatever, but I don't know if that justifies him liking Hazel, but I'm gonna move on from that. So, how to write a book. Oh my God. So, here's what I do. So, first off, once you have the idea in your head of what you want to write, spend like a month brainstorming. Spend like a month brainstorming your idea. And just any idea that you like, any thought of your book idea that comes down, write it down. If you are out somewhere, because I got so many crazy ideas for books when I was out driving or I was away from pen and paper or whatever. So I would, no kidding, take out my phone and I would like record myself, be like, okay, so here's this idea. We're going to have blah, 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 whatever. So I can then play it back later. And, write that idea down. Are there any Roman gods in the book? Which book? The book I wrote, the books I wrote. No, this book. Well, yeah, definitely. So All right, we good? I don't know what the heck that was. My phone just acted weird. All right, what was I saying? Uh, so, uh, my phone was just acting weird. I apologize for that. Anyway, so spend about a month writing down, whatever ideas are, just brainstorming this thing. And then after a month is complete, start writing your outline. I know outline's terrible. I am a big supporter and big promoter of outlines, because that was like the night and day difference for me for finally finishing one of my damn books. I attempted and failed to write a book at least 5 times until my mother-in-law, God bless her, said, "Hey, why don't you outline your books?" And I'm like, I don't want to outline my books. She's like, "You should outline your books so you know what what you're writing and whatnot." I'm like, "Fine, I'll outline my books." So I finally started outlining my book, and like I said, night and day difference. I was able to finish that book and the 3 books that came after that. So if you haven't tried outlining, and if you want to write a book, you have not been able to successfully finish a book, and you have not yet tried outlining, try outlining. I can tell you my method, but I'm trying to explain my writing process while answering comments at the same time. So anyway, so are you married? Yes, I am. This started out as a stream about this book. I already finished what I was talking about. I'm gonna leave this here. So outlining. This is how I outline my book. I open up a Word document and I write down chapter 1. I just type out the word chapter 1, and I like naming my chapters personally. So if I'm able to come up with a name for that chapter, I will write down the name of that chapter. And anyway, so after chapter 1, I will then space down 1, and I will write just a bunch of bullet points on everything that needs to happen inside that chapter. Okay. And then after I've outlined that chapter, all the bullet points of all the events that I need to have happened in that chapter. Are there Roman gods in your book? Or in the book? Again, my books, no. This one, yes, of course. So after I outlined chapter 1, I then skip down a bunch of spaces and I write last chapter. I don't even number that one, okay? I just write last chapter. And I then, like I did with chapter 1, start making bullet points of all the things I need to have happen in the last chapter. So now, once I've done that, I figured out how the book's going to start and how the book's going to end, which was actually my biggest issue with trying to write a book before I started outlining. Is I would just start writing things, having no idea where I was going, but most importantly, having no idea where the end goal was. I had no idea how it was going to end. So if nothing else, if you do not want to outline your book, if nothing else, figure out your ending. Figure out your beginning and your ending before you start anything. Otherwise, yeah. How long have I been married? 13 years. So yeah. So after you've outlined the last chapter, I then go back up, and just under chapter 1, where I had all the other bullet points, I then go chapter 2. Blah 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 blah. This is all that's gonna happen, and just rinse and repeat bullet points. Chapter 3, bullet points. Chapter, so on and so forth. And that's how I outline. All right. So you got your outline. I cannot believe I'm going over my entire writing process slide, but hey, that's fine with me. I also now realize that the title for this live stream is a bit misleading, but whatever. This stream's getting attention, and I'm happy. So what was it? Brainstorm, outline. Okay, so writing the dang thing. Just start writing your story out. Not really much else I can say. If you get lost or confused, go back to your outline and be like, oh, this is, just to remind yourself on the different things that need to happen. And you just start writing your book. once it's all done, once you do not edit as you go, for the love of whoever you whatever, do not edit as you go. I know it's hard. I know it is hard to do. Okay, but a piece of advice that I heard from another writer, and it actually works, is to avoid editing as you go. Think of writing as a process. Don't think of it as a process. It is a process. Okay, and it has multiple steps. Like I'm going over all my steps right now, and there is a writing step. I'm moving this out of my way finally. There is a writing step, and then there's an editing step. So there's no point doing your editing step when you're trying to do your writing step. There's a time and place for the editing step. So you need to remind yourself, if you find yourself wanting to, edit as you go, be like, no, there's a time and place for that. That's not now. Right now we're just writing, okay? So, try your best to not edit as you go. Now, I do make one exception when I am writing. If in my manuscript I see that like little squiggly of, hey, you misspelled this, because I misspell stuff all the dang time. If I see that, I'll go, oh shoot, hold on, let me fix that real quick. But as far as like rearranging sentences and deleting stuff and I'll fix a typo. But other than that, I just write and don't edit until it's comes time for that. So brainstorm, outline, write different scenarios. Yes, exactly. So brainstorm, outline, write different scenarios in different chapters, and do not edit as you go. Absolutely. Now it makes sense. Understanding the whole concept. So once you finish writing your book or your first draft, now it is time to edit. Okay, like I said, there was a time for that. So now that it's time to edit, before you start editing, this is another thing a lot of writers will agree on, and I agree on it too. So I'm gonna push out. Allow your manuscript to take a rest. Take your eyes off of it. Now some authors say 2 weeks, a month. Some say 6 months. I've heard some people say a year. I'm like, to hell with that. I don't got that kind of patience to wait a year. But I basically shelve my manuscript. I put it away. I don't look at it for a month. Okay, exactly 1 month. Now, a lot of times in this case, what I'll do during that month is I'll then move on to writing my next project. Like I wrote a trilogy. So when the first draft of my first book was done, I'm like, all right, I'm going to start working on the first draft of my second book because I got that outlined. But just concern yourself with another project for 1 month and don't look at your first draft because you need to be able to look at it with fresh eyes. Excuse me. So once your month is up and you're ready to edit it again, what I do when I edit is I will make a note of whatever the word count is at that time. Okay. And once I write down the word count somewhere and put it away so I don't lose it, I will then just start reading the manuscript. Okay, I'll just start reading the story, and I'll just make changes as I see fit, change sentences around, delete whole paragraphs. Actually, with my first second draft, technically, a lot of times I tend to add a lot of stuff. Like, oh my god, I tend to just add whole scenes and paragraphs. I'm like, oh, I got an idea of how to improve this scene. I'm just gonna add in all this stuff here, and I make it so much longer. That's why I take note of what the word count is, because I tend to add a bunch of stuff. Now, a lot of writers, they do the opposite. They tend to actually remove a lot of scenes. I tend to add a bunch, but that's just me. Every writer's different. So I read through it. I make whatever changes I feel necessary, and then my hands are really just thank you. So I'll make whatever changes I feel necessary, and once that's all done, I will then put it away for another month. Okay, move on to my other book project, whatever the case may be. Okay. But again, rinse and repeat, wait another month. And basically I will just keep doing that. Once that month is over, start reading through it again and put it away for another month. Rinse and repeat over and over and over and over until my word count, this is just me, my word count changes by less than 100 words. Okay, the difference. So like when my second manuscript is done, I'll make a note of what the word count is before I start the third one. Be like, okay, now the new word count is this. All right, read through it, make changes, whatever. Okay, now the new word count is this. All right, put that away. And basically, when the word count from the beginning, from one draft to the next, changes by a difference of less than 100, then I could consider it to be good enough to. How long did it take you to write Son of Neptune? I didn't write Son of Neptune. I'm sorry. That was by Rick Riordan. I'm not Rick Riordan. I wish I was. Oh my god, that'd be awesome. Dudes. But no. So I wrote a whole nother series of books. I thought that's what you're asking about. So yeah, no, this was written by Rick Riordan. My author name is MJ Franco. So I didn't write this. I apologize for the confusion there. But yeah. With that being said, even though I didn't write this, do you still wish for me to finish my writing process? Even though I am a published author, I am 3-time, getting ready to be 4th time published. If you still want to know my writing process, I'd be more than happy to tell you. But yeah. Oh no, you're good. Don't worry about it. I will answer this though, because you said how long did it take you to write Son of Neptune? I have no idea how long Rick Riordan took writing it, obviously, but here. This is my first book. It's not very long. It's a novella. This took me a year and a half to write, but its 2 sequels actually took probably about a year each. So I kind of perfected my writing process and was able to write the 2 books after that a lot faster than the first one. But anyway, so it took me a year and a half, year and a half, for each of my books. So, anyway, so when the word count from one draft to the next changes by less than 100 words, that's when I consider it to be good enough, because your manuscript will never be perfect. You will always find something to change. One word, move this word over here, delete this. You will always find something to change, okay? It will never be perfect. So for me, at least, every author is different, but for me, at least, I see a difference of less than 100 words to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Small enough to be worthy of, hey, this is good enough. And then, I find a publisher, and, you can go traditional, independent, whatever. Anyway, I see my wife's trying to get my attention, and this stream has already gone longer than I was planning on. So, how many books have I written? I've written 3 books. Well, I've written 4 books. 3 of them are published. One of them is getting ready to be published soon. And then that's going to be the end of it. Well, maybe. We'll see. But anyway, I got to end this stream, unfortunately. But you know what, Dale Cooper, you're my new best friend. You made my whole weekend. I got a freaking road trip tomorrow. Like, that was going to be the highlight of my weekend, what I'm doing tomorrow. But you know what? This right here is the highlight of my weekend, because this is the most successful stream I've ever had. So thank you so much. If you do have any other questions, by all means, comment on any of my videos or send me a message or whatever. I'm trying to go live every week, every Friday. So, I'll go live again on Friday. Charlie Lane, I'm sorry. Hi to you, but I got to end this. But thank you all so much. This has been awesome. So thank you.